Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker, or tonight, Trouble Snaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot, who didn't get the memo that costumes were to be worn.
And I'm your Cobra intern that took your cousin to prom so you could sneak away to Enterprise City with all your friends. Codename Legion Cub. And I gotta say, that name, Dave, you sound like a Sid and Marty Krofft villain. I love it.
Trouble Snaker. Well, and the costume thing actually was not intentional. Well, mine. Well, this is my official Super 7 snakeling hat, and then I just threw on a gray shirt, little Cobra button. Christian just had a laundry situation, and it was pure. It was pure happenstance that
I have nothing except for my shipwreck shirt.
I was looking for my Cobra intern shirt, and I'm like, I can't find it. Because, folks, listeners, like I get off work and make it home just in time for these live streams. So I saw my shipwreck shirt, and I was like, nope, okay, easy fix.
So yeah, it just happened this way. Noel, you were not in the loop. We didn't know there was a loop.
Nope. And just to think, and on the other side of this wall, I have like a whole bunch of costumes that I could just throw on. Actually, I can't because I don't fit in any of them anymore.
Oh, I know that pain, and I know it well. Oh, I need to post our little social media update here, letting everybody know that we're on the air. While I do that, why don't you, since this is a special episode, the reason we're here on a Thursday night is because this week is the 40th anniversary of the original airing of the Pyramid of Darkness. So before we all crumble into dust, like at the end of Last Crusade, we're going to talk about just the first episode tonight. We'll be reviewing the other 4 episodes in alternating weeks over the course of the next couple of months here. Next week, since it's an audio episode, we will be reviewing episode 2 and on and so forth. So we will be reviewing the entire miniseries, but tonight, just the first episode. So before we get into that,
they've already reviewed it.
yeah, we might have done some timey-wimey stuff here in a little bit, which I've realized going through my notes for tonight. There's a little redundancy, but that's okay because 2 weeks from now or next week, whatever, nobody's going to remember. We're old. I don't remember what I said on the show that we recorded just a couple of days ago. So while I'm doing our social post here, why don't you fellows do your best job of talking about our links and our socials that I normally do at the beginning of the show, just for a fun exercise?
Ooh.
Go for it, Noel, and I'll chime in.
So we have the Audible Army Facebook group. Which Dave has to usually send a special URL for people to get access to if they're not already a member. But I know
the idea was to do something that I would be able to focus on this while you talk.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but I'll go ahead and send that link now.
Or you can send us a message at Audible Interlude on Instagram, and we can send you the link. Just remember, the link that we send you doesn't work on mobile because we are operating like it's 1980 when G.I. Joe premiered, and it will only work on desktop. And lots of cool things happen in the Facebook group, by the way. We do polls. I don't know, lots of cool stuff. It is a very fun atmosphere. I, unfortunately, have not really had a day off since getting back from DragonCon, so I am behind on the group. I am a bad intern.
Where can you find our merch?
Where can you not find our merch? We have merch, and everyone is wearing it.
It's on TeePublic.
And you can go to our pinned stories where? Instagram. So we have our logo shirts. We have the ever popular Cobra intern shirt. Always wait for a sale. It's TeePublic. Someone sneezes and they have a sale. An angel gets its wings and they have a sale. They probably have a sale right now. I'm not for sure. But go there, buy some merch.
You can get merch with our very popular Cobra intern shirt. Our most popular shirt, of course, is available there. Along with our regular logo and some other goodies. Tactical shovels coming soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
all right,
actually,
well, let me take this back over because that's unlikely to ever be happening. So anyway, go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Follow us there. Check out our pinned stories for TeePublic merch. Shoot us a message with your email address, and we'll add you to the Audible Army Facebook group. Here is just a small selection of the merch we have available. We've got tons of T-shirt designs. We also have shorts available that are pretty darn good. We've got hats. So just go to those pinned stories, follow the link to TeePublic, and check it out. Get yourself some merch. And if you want to wear it to Joe Lanta, we will give you a free itty bitty ditty bag.
But if you haven't ordered it yet for Joanna, good luck in getting it by that time. Hopefully you already have it.
If you order right now, you will potentially have it by then. TeePublic has a not business day, but 5-day turnaround in most cases, in my experience.
Okay. The last couple things I ordered through TeePublic were shipped through DHL, and they took about 3 weeks. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
3 weeks to ship?
Like 3 weeks before, from the time that I ordered them to the time that I got them.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
well then never mind. I guess
during the process?
No, it just happened. I don't know. Everything comes to me through DHL now. That's just what happens now.
Yeah, that's terrible. So it is now official. September the 27th at Joe Lanta in Duluth, Georgia, at the Gas South Convention Center. We have a panel. I don't have a time yet, but I can tell you it is a live table read of Special Mission Brazil Redux, the newly updated script that Michael Charles Hill wrote for his Special Mission Brazil story. And Michael Charles Hill will be at this panel. I talked to him earlier today. He is very excited for this. We are very excited for this. This is a crazy honor that the man who wrote Special Mission Brazil and Cold Slither, as well as other things that we've talked about. Actually, you can check out my interview with him on the Needless Things podcast. Go look that up, and we talk about everything he's written pretty much. Really fantastic conversation, but he will be there live with us at Joe Lanta for a live table read of Special Mission Brazil Redux, his redone script, which actually I have got right here. And we will be giving away a signed copy of the Special Mission Brazil Redux script because, as always, as with any of our live events, we're going to need the audience's help for this one. And the most helpful will get that signed script. So very exciting. We're excited about Joe Lanta. It's a fantastic convention, as we've said before. Obviously, it is G.I. Joe focused. However, they got a little bit of everything. Now, Kristen, you haven't made it to one of the Lantas, have you?
You came to, I thought you came to Toylanta.
I did come to Toylanta, but they had already split. So it was just Toylanta.
Okay.
Because that wasn't this, it was 2024 when I made it for Toylanta.
Okay.
It was, well, it was before.
Oh, that's right. No, that was the old one.
Because 2023.
We did the panel there.
Right.
Yeah, it was
in
old
that
venue.
little room. Yeah.
That weird little room.
Yeah. So it's completely different now. much bigger, and tons of guests. Just check out the Toylanta website. You know how Google works. It's going to be a blast, and we're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday with the panel. And then right after Toylanta, our next live stream is our 200th episode extravaganza on September the 29th. We are currently putting plans together. I'm not going to say anything yet, although I will be dropping teasers in the Audible Army Facebook group between now and then. And I would say we'll probably have announcements over that weekend as Joe Lanta is going on.
Mel Brooks.
Well, okay, yes, Mel Brooks will be on the show. Mel Brooks will not be on the show.
The 200-year-old Joe.
All right. Let me get my notes back up here. What has happened to my screen? Holy cow. My StreamYard just shrank down to half screen size for some reason. Okay, so speaking of StreamYard, we will be dropping StreamYard as soon as we are done, or as soon as I've downloaded tonight's recording. The price is going up almost 100%, and I'm going to try other options. We're going to see what happens. If I've not gotten any suggestions from anybody, which is fine because that's how my whole career has been that. I think we're going to try Riverside. I'm going to do their free trial for 14 days. We're going to see how that goes. And after that, we'll figure it out. So probably the 200th episode will be on that Riverside platform because we will still be under that at that point. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen.
A little learning curve for 14 days or so.
We'll make it work.
Hey, that's been my whole career.
I don't know how the reviews are because Live sang that song, about pain lying on the riverside at that one point. So, who knows?
Speaking of singing, Reverend Scott Stripling joined in with Springtime for Cobra Commander. I feel like you've just given us our idea for DragonCon 2026.
It is time for Audible Interlude, the musical. You are watching us on the Needless Things YouTube channel. That's where you'll see us on the 29th, and that's where you can also find reviews for recent releases like Monkey Wrench, Major Blood version 2, and the Healy Made figures that I talked about on our last live stream. Talked about the schedule. We're good to go on that. Facebook group, there is a link in the chat right now if you're here with us. If not, as I said, send a message to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram with your email. We'll add you. And now we're going to get right on because we got a big show tonight because we've got a little bit of news, but we got a lot of review. So let's get down to business. First up, Short Fuse and Steeler are going up for pre-order because nothing goes up for sale. Going up for pre-order tomorrow. It looks like 9 a.m. Eastern time on Target's website. Limited quantities on Pulse for premium members. And when they say limited quantities, they're usually not messing around with that. So at 9 a.m., I'm going to be sitting there with 2 screens open, ready to go.
At 9 a.m., I will be about 40,000 feet up in the air, so I will not be ordering these.
Oh, boy.
No.
Yeah. I guess, you know what? I may be able to use the Wi-Fi because I'm flying Delta, so maybe I'll be able to use Delta Wi-Fi.
Well, may the odds be ever in your favor. Something that was pointed out, though, and I cannot remember who said it. It was on Instagram. Let's see here. If I can pull it right up, I would like to. I'd like to give them credit because it was an astute observation that had slipped past me. So, Silent Interlude on Instagram made a really good point. Steeler being dark green and Short Fuse being light green makes me unreasonably perturbed. And I hadn't even thought about it until he pointed it out, but he's right. Their colors are almost reversed from the original figures.
Oh, yes. Steeler was a darker green.
Well, no, Steeler was because
light.
What we're looking at right now, Short Fuse is on your right.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And he is almost Steeler's colors, whereas Steeler is the darker olive drab that Short Fuse was. And my initial thought was, well, I could just swap, heads and boots and whatever, but Steeler's shirt has that collar on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't work. Very interesting decision. I'm still excited about these figures. Like I'm in on them.
You're gonna get those 013s. They're must-haves. But
yeah, absolutely.
And I know Steeler was also that light color in Sunbow. Short Fuse, I'm trying to remember because they didn't show him. He wasn't featured much but I think he was also honestly, a lighter color.
If you had a gun to my head, I could not tell you if Short Fuse was even actually in the cartoons.
He was a couple times, and they always depicted him with glasses, I believe, when they showed him. But it wasn't on.
Oh, which is why he comes with the glasses here.
Yeah, and he had glasses in the Marvel comics as well.
Okay. I mean, the figures still look great, but Hoffman may have a point.
Yep. Come on, bring it up. There we go. This set is ruined now.
Far from it. No set that includes a tactical shovel could possibly be considered ruined. And then, let's see, a little action pose here. Then we've got the Ghost Viper that we haven't seen an official announcement yet, but it looks like chances are October 10th when Walmart launches its fall collector con. That this will be part of the offerings. That seems likely. And this thing looks great. I would love to have, 4 of them, to be honest. But what do you guys think the price is going to be for this? Because I don't think this is just figure with pet price.
I think it's figure with pet price.
You think so? I hope you're right.
Yeah, because I mean...
Now, here's my question, though.
It's almost all like recycled parts, just about, except for those little...
Well, that's never stopped them from jacking a price up before.
Yeah.
What is figure with pet price now, though? Because all prices have gone up.
That's $44.99 right now.
It's not anymore.
Yeah, Law and Order was $45, so that means
this will be more.
I mean, I think it's overpriced if it's $50, but it may very well be. You've got the new like uber fanged McFarlane underbite wolf head. You've got the hands, you've got the snake head.
That was a journey.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's because I'm looking at all this after Noah was like, it's mostly redos. And I was like, yeah. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's really not a lot of reused parts because
in Hasbro's eyes, like if this was, an O-ring figure, that's at least $15 worth of extra pieces that are just doubles.
Well, it is a lot of reuse, but it is not all. Those hands are new. The Cobra head is new. The crazy McFarlane wolf head is new. Those little flame effect things, I believe, are both new.
I think those. I don't know if those are new. New in that color. But
yeah, I think.
What are they from?
I think those are like gun effects. I think they're the same little short flame effects that we've had for like.
I mean, I don't know, because every one of these things just goes into a bag, and I never look at them again. Every blast effect. So
I'm not saying they won't reuse those, but I don't believe we've seen those before. But if we have, somebody in the chat will absolutely point it out.
Torch or blowtorch had at the end of their flamethrowers, like the small flame. Are they not the same as those?
Did they come with a flame that small?
Yeah. Because I think that's actually one of the few blast effects I have is on my torch.
Okay.
That's actually on display.
But regardless, I am going to throw out 55 as my guess for this guy.
Yikes.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't want it to be that. But this is a new world of tariffs we live in.
I mean, I was going to just leave it at I don't want it because I had no interest in this figure, even if it was a $25 figure, but that's just me.
Oh, I'm sure it's not just you.
I have an interest in it. I just don't. have an interest for everything that it comes with. And so that's where I'm gonna, with all the price increases, I have no choice but to be more selective about what I get. And so
I'm definitely getting one, but as you guys have both kind of referenced, like you get one and then you end up with a bag full of extra stuff you're not using.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that those small flame effects were the same ones that are in Torch. That came with Torch.
But that's why eBay and Macari exist as well, because as much as, sorry folks that are excited for it, I'm happy, but honestly, the Wolf does nothing for me. And that would be an easy get rid of it for me.
So just because I was curious, the little flame effect is a peg with the flame vertical. This is a peg with the flame horizontal. I don't think we've got a picture. Yeah, we don't have them attached. But we'll find out. Because I'll get one and I'll do a review.
And Rekship says, I'm honestly expecting a $48 to $50 price for this set because possibly these might have the upped prices Hasbro's been looming over our heads for months now.
Rekship, I don't, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
I don't think there's any might have about it. I think will. And I'm also curious as to how much Steeler and Short Fuse are going to be, because one of the more recent, now I didn't look at the ones that went up today because I'm not buying any more Marvel Legends figures. But a recent Marvel Legends 2-pack was $62.99. And that's what I'm expecting to see on Steeler and Short Fuse.
Yeah, because the Joe 2-packs have been $55 recently. So I could see that being about the rate they'd have to hike it up.
So I'm going to go ahead and just say, I'm going to wait for it to go on clearance.
Good luck.
Yeah, right. All right. What else have we got going on in here? Oh, we've got some shipping updates to talk about. I don't have an image for those. Mask shipping updates. The Loyal Subjects Mask relaunch. Big Bad Toy Store sent this out a little over a week ago. They have an update from the manufacturer on pre-order arrival dates to ensure every detail meets the high standards they all expect. Production is taking a little extra time. No surprise there. As a result, the manufacturer has shared new estimated arrival dates. Here's the latest ETA for your collection. Condor, Thunderhawk, and HTH expected to arrive at their warehouse in November. Regular MDU, exclusive MDU, and bundle expected to arrive at their warehouse in December. So I'm kind of trying to figure out I have to wait. Like, one of the reasons I wanted Mask was to get it as early as possible and get my reviews up, but I ordered the bundle because the bundle costs significantly less than buying each individual item. So I'm a little annoyed if Big Bad is going to insist on shipping the bundle together rather than shipping the parts as they come in. But at the same time, I understand, because in their system, that's a SKU. So they couldn't really split it up to ship the Condor, Thunderhawk, and HTH early. So, yeah. As the first retailer in the United States to offer Mask products for pre-order, now that's an interesting clarification that I didn't catch the first time I read this. As the first retailer in the United States to offer Mask products for pre-order.
There's several caveats in there.
That does not mean they're going to get them first. They're going to get them first. It just meant they put the pre-orders up first. That makes me wonder if I need to play roulette.
I have seen people posting that they have found the second wave of the Loyal Subjects gem dolls in the Walmart system. So I'm expecting Mask to pop up on there as well. I don't know if it'll be before big bad, but
Right.
I'm still holding to my belief that they will be on Walmart shelves.
But if you want them as early as possible, pre-order roulette is the only way.
I want to jump in here. Yorktown Joe says, listening in lurk mode while multitasking. Thanks for a Thursday live stream. You are very welcome.
Thank you for tuning in. And I will point out as we're doing the news, the Super Chat is available for donations. As I mentioned, StreamYard we are getting rid of and trying to find a financially responsible alternative. Anything that comes in through the Super Chat or any other means goes directly into hosting and something like StreamYard, which is very expensive. Monetizing the channel does not cover the streaming hosting service. I will tell you right now. Another shipping update. Budo is showing early October for Big Bad Toy Store and November the 19th for Amazon. So we'll be seeing Budo, honestly, I think a little sooner than I kind of expected him to come in. It's going to be, the rest of the year is going to be very expensive. There is still a lot left to ship. As a matter of fact, not that we've got plenty of time tonight or anything, but let me pull up my pre-order checklist and let's do a real quick run through of what's left this year.
Some of us that don't do the shipping roulette, we're still waiting on Hasbro Pulse to get their Armored Cobra Commander that all of you all have had for 3 months.
Really?
Yeah. Mine hasn't shipped either. I just got the shipping notification on Monkey Wrench like yesterday.
If you go to the website, they're still taking pre-orders for
Did
Cobra
you get
Commander.
Dial Tone?
For some weird reason, because Dial Tone I got through Hasbro Pulse, I got my Dial Tone before everybody else. I got him like the end of last year or something. It was really weird.
Yeah, I just got mine Sunday. So I got Law and Order, I got Dial Tone, and Monkey Wrench just shipped. So I was talking on our last live stream about how like all this stuff hadn't shipped, but then kind of a wave of all of it. Although I'm still waiting on that Cobra Commander. That's the only one that
I got the notice as soon as we got back from Dragon Con, I got the notice that they were going to be charging for Law and Order, and it's charged. I have not received any shipping notification for them yet. So I don't know if I'm back on Hasbro Pulse's bad graces where they're like, Monkey Wrench is the last one that we're sending you an email on to let you know that he shipped. And Law and Order is just going to magically show up. Brian Hoffman says, got a crystal ball coming. Finally was able to order one. Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I got charged for mine Sunday, and they shipped it yesterday via DHL.
This is your second one?
Yeah, my second one. That's going to go with my 4 Ghost Vipers that I'm not now getting. And then I got charged for Slice and Dice Tuesday, I think, and they have not shipped yet. So, yeah, the Pulse is still a mess. That's just how it is. All right. So here are pre-order, just G.I. Joe, because there's a lot more than that on here. Although I will mention there's a whole big batch of Operation Monster Force that is supposedly still going to ship before the end of the year.
I'm worried about that at this point with how many there are.
The Snake is supposed to ship. Well, okay.
So RecShip says it's supposed to start charging next Tuesday.
I was just getting ready to say that. Why are you letting RecShip steal my glory? Get him out of here.
Because
you're both demoted. You sailors. I see collusion.
I'm a snakeling.
I smell collusion, and I smell it real bad.
It's you know what? When we have a chat, I just like to let the chat have a little bit of say.
Dave does not like to be scooped by chat.
No, absolutely not. Unacceptable. So anyway, the snake is supposed to, well, it said the ship date is now the charge date. It used to be the ship date, but now it's the charge date. So we'll get charged for the snake on Tuesday, and then it'll ship probably Friday or something. We have got, already mentioned Budo, the MMS, Slice and Dice, which I've been charged for by Pulse. Retro Cardback Bat, Retro Cardback Green Shirt, Awe Striker, Slaughter and Mercer.
Oh yeah, I got the Awe Striker coming.
Wetsuit, Mainframe, Desert Scorpion, Sci-Fi. This is all stuff that
and this is
currently,
all they're saying is before the end of the year?
Well, actually, I take that back. So Wetsuit, Mainframe, Desert Scorpion, and Sci-Fi were the ones that I think said like August of next year. But somebody just posted in-hand pictures of Desert Scorpion. So I don't know that next year is gonna hold, or at least August of next year is gonna hold. Oh, and another thing that occurred to me when we were talking about rumors of the price increase is one thing that I overlooked. Pulse did tell us a couple of months ago, lock in your pre-orders for current pricing. So that really was the confirmation quite some time ago that those prices were for sure going up. All right. We've got an update from the wonderful Toy Collector's Wish Book, the special G.I. Joe edition that is underway. Progress is moving forward, and this book project is really shaping up to be better than I expected. I'm currently knee-deep in Series 6, 1987, and just completed an enjoyable photo shoot for the Defiant Space Vehicle Launch Complex with the help of my good friend Jason. Also wanted to share with you some of the progress thus far for Series 5, 1986. I had a blast working on this chapter. It was beneficial to me during research, putting myself in the reader's shoes, to lay out the Starduster page in a way that I could better understand the differences between the three variations. I'm still in the process of researching some of these details, and I hope you enjoy this chapter as much as I enjoyed working on it. In addition, if you're interested in getting more updates on what I'm working on in real time, please follow the Retro Toy Quest Facebook page linked below. Obviously, we cannot share that link here, but check out the Retro Toy Quest Facebook page. And I mean, this just looks awesome. I wish, so this was sent out, this was a GIF in the email, and I couldn't put a GIF in our presentation. But the pages just look fantastic. If you've seen the other Toy Collector's Wish books, 2 volumes are out right now, and they're beautiful. Wayne does just incredible work. Noel, go ahead with the Hoffman.
So Brian Hoffman says Jason was talking about the Defiant shot when I saw him at Retro Horror Toy Con, and I just looking at that photo again. For folks that have never seen the Defiant in person, those are full-size box lights on either side. Those are like 2 feet by 2 feet, 2.5 feet. Those are huge. Like, that's what I use in my studio when I'm shooting people. So the fact that he's just has them as table lights to be able to cover the size of the Defiant, I'm like, God, because I remember my first Joe Fest when I saw a boxed one, and I'm like, that thing is almost as tall as me.
Well, and what's frustrating to me, this GIF included some detail pictures from the Defiant photo shoot, and the more I see of it, the more I'm like, I wouldn't mind having a Defiant. But it cannot come before the flag. And then finally, we've got some more exciting Joe Lanta news. Look at this Adventure Command Joe Lanta exclusive figure by White Elephant Toys. Comes with 2 sets of clothes, a dangerous killer crocodile, and a few other accessories, including a pineapple.
Pineapple!
I'm left wondering, like, is this guy a swinger? What's going on here?
It is.
What does this say about Joe Lanta?
He is looking for his pineapple princess. And everybody knows if you can't outrun a crocodile, but here in Florida, gator, just give them some pineapple. Threaten to put it on pizza, and you will stop them dead in their tracks.
Hey, I like a little pineapple on the pizza.
I love
I,
pineapple on pizza.
I barbecue sauce, chicken, and pineapple. Like
Yep.
that's a good pizza to me.
the Maui Wowie at Mellow Mushroom that's the one right there with pesto
Yeah.
and pineapple. Yeah.
Ooh, pesto and pineapple.
Mhm.
Interesting. I've not had that. I have to give that a try.
But I am loving the gator. Or
Yeah, well, this
crocodile,
whole set is very cool.
It's
I mean, it's a
awesome.
throwback to Adventure Team, and it looks cool. It looks great. The jumpsuit he's got on is really cool, and then the alternate clothes. Like this is just an awesome set. I will
This
be
makes me
tempted.
want to buy the inflatable boat off their website. I mean, it's dirt cheap too.
Put up Mark Harkness's.
Yep.
So yes, I am aware that is shaped like an alligator, but they are describing it as a crocodile, and I am not one to defy
It
Joe
is
Lanta or White Elephant Toys.
a crocodilian reptile, which would include alligators as well.
What is Rex Ship's nonsense here?
Apples and pines
with
pineapple.
pineapple. Is that Alpine's alternate name?
It's it's the song. The
I got a pen. I got an apple. Pineapple pen.
Wow, you guys lost me on that one.
It's like a 10-year-old internet meme.
Okay. Well, fortunately, that brings us to our next segment. The first time ever, I'm pretty sure, although Scale Model Joe's could tell us, because he has been working on the Audible Interlude Wiki, which you can have access to if you are in the Audible Army Facebook group on Facebook, obviously. So I think this is the first time we've done a live review, and even if it's not, we're saying it is. It is time to dig into the first episode of G.I. Joe, The Pyramid of Darkness, The Further Adventures of G.I. Joe. Are you guys ready for this?
I am.
Yo, right. Joe.
Can I give a... Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, I have a quick production...
Oh, yeah, please.
Note, as I always do. So, if you were at Dragon Con, I feel like the reception to this character that we mentioned that appears, not in this episode, but in the rest of Pyramid of Darkness, was big enough that I wanted to start off our review with the voice of Admiral Ledger himself, Hal Rail, who also happens to be the voice of Deep Six, also known as, "Are you Buzz Lightyear? I love your movies." Hal Rail is also the voice of two of my favorite characters on two of the best cartoons ever. Eric Bennett, aka Sports One on Bionic 6, and Doyle Cleverlobe on Galaxy High. If you have not watched Galaxy High, look it up. It is phenomenal. But the main reason why I wanted to bring him up is him and his wife actually changed the business of voice acting. His wife is Maggie Roswell, who was the voice of Maude Flanders, Helen Lovejoy, a bunch of the female characters on The Simpsons. And in 1999, she quit the show over a contract dispute. When they went to get her back, her and Hal stood their ground because they had moved away from LA at that point, that she would not fly in to record lines. If they wanted her back, it would have to be in her contract that she could record her dialogue in the studio that they had and send them digitally.
Wow.
And they stood their ground. And in 2001, Fox agreed. So they actually built a studio in the town that they live in. And it still is running to this day, but that action, folks, you may not realize it, but that absolutely changed how the business of voice acting is done, because most of it now is done remotely by people recording. Even if they live in LA, they're recording in studios and then sending their dialogue in for it to be edited together.
Or a closet that has been converted into a studio.
Absolutely. So shout out to Hal Rail and Admiral Ledger.
That's amazing. All right. So we got to talk about, this is the first time we're seeing the regular series intro, because the prior two miniseries each had story narrative specific introductions. This is the regular going forward G.I. Joe season 1 opening credits. We get the Cobra mothership, which is apparently the only form we're ever going to get it in.
Maybe we'll get a little Jada Toys mini one day.
Yeah, maybe. That's true. Well, look, again, I still say I want some Action Fleet stuff, and they could do or something like the Jakks Pacific Star Wars vehicle line. Like, those are fantastic. Something
we
like
got the
that.
Hot Wheels license, and so who knows what we'll get out of that.
Yeah. All right. We get vehicles driving out of the sunrise, which is very cool. We got Maulers and Awe Strikers. And then we've got Joes running out of the wreckage of the mothership. And it's funny because the mothership really is this miniseries was so central to Super 7's production, like what they made. The whole narrative, this is similar to G.I. Joe the movie, in that there's this whole narrative story that's just these credits. It's not from an episode. It's not taken from anything specific. They just wrote this whole conflict as an opening sequence, and it's the Battle of the Mothership.
And when I think about G.I. Joe opening, openings, this is the one that always I think sticks in my mind. I think about the big Cobra mothership, and I just think about these characters, and there's just certain actions that will always be associated with this is the intro to G.I. Joe. The 86 one's good too, but this one definitely is my favorite.
This one feels more signature. The 86 one feels sequely. It feels like we got to do that again, but we got to put a lot more into it. It's great, but it's just not the same. And then of course it is notable that our characters running out of the wreckage are all, brand new for 1985. And then probably one of the most recognizable images from G.I. Joe. I mean, you see this all over the place. The Joe logo with the American flag in the background. And then all these characters raising their arms in the air.
All these 85 characters raising their arms in the air.
Well,
although there's a Gung-Ho in there, and is that Breaker?
It's probably Breaker, since he features prominently.
Yeah. And but I mean, you can tell because there's Duke's not in this. They were pushing Flint as Flint is your new Duke, he's your new lead guy,
and he doesn't seem to get captured.
That's right.
As much as Duke does. Yeah, Flint and Lady J are certainly presented as, well, maybe not primary characters. We have a couple of different primary characters throughout this episode.
Well, the characters they're sort of replacing in Duke and Scarlet, as we'll see, are really dumb in this miniseries too. So,
yeah. Yes. The Further Adventures of G.I. Joe, written by Ron Friedman, originally broadcast on September the 16th of 1985. Oh, did I open with water robots?
Okay.
Surely not.
Well, I mean, it is the best part of the episode.
I mean, you're not wrong about that. Yeah, I guess that's the first thing I took a picture of. Wild. So I skipped a whole entire opening sequence of this space shuttle.
This is why
moving
you want the
underground.
Defiant.
Huh?
This is why you want the Defiant now, so you can recreate the opening to the Further Adventures of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I think you got me on that one.
You mean the weakest space shuttle in the history of space shuttles that can be stopped with a net?
There are some a little bit of physics anomalies that go on in this first battle sequence. I don't know. Little artistic license with physics, especially when it comes to jet plane wings and armored tanks.
Yeah, how did I not
and
get
underwater pressure?
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know what happened because there's a lot of stuff I should have gotten shots of in that opening sequence and just didn't. So yeah, we open up with a space shuttle traveling underground towards this really cool, massive gantry. So it's going to be launched into space, as one does with space shuttles. And then it emerges out of the ground. This perfectly spherical hill splits in half. Space shuttle comes up, starts traveling down the road towards the launch site. And then, of course, Cobra attacks. Now, Cobra's plan is the Hiss tanks converge on the space shuttle and each one shoots 2 cables out over the top of the space shuttle, forming a net, which I got questions. Because I don't care how many cables you shoot crisscross over the top of that space shuttle is just going to go right through all those unconnected cables.
Again, some playing a little loose with physics, but what are you going to do? It's a little sci-fi here.
It is. It's G.I. Joe. So they managed to hold the shuttle, which this is another issue, is I'm pretty sure if you prevented that shuttle from launching, it wouldn't just sit there hovering for 20 minutes. But that is what happens. So as the Joes and Cobras engage in conflict, unbeknownst to the Joes, a Rattler creeps up on the space shuttle, which we don't find out until later, but we're going to go ahead and talk about it now because I don't want to get bogged down in the narrative later. Rattler comes up, and it uses magical magnetic beams to open up the cargo bay of the shuttle, which nobody notices.
Right.
And then an arm, again, the size, the scale, the proportions of things throughout really all of G.I. Joe, but specifically this episode, are cuckoo bananas. Nothing makes any sense, but I don't care because it's entertaining. So this arm that could not possibly fit inside of a Rattler takes out a cargo pod that also could not possibly fit inside of a Rattler and places it in the cargo bay of the shuttle, and then the magical magnetic beams close the cargo bay back up just as neatly as possible. It's pretty exciting.
An estimated, I'd say, 2 to 3 additional tons of weight to this space shuttle. Probably would have not gone unnoticed.
Yeah. Yeah, because even if you discount what's inside those cargo containers, the containers themselves, although these people don't even have a sensor to let them know when the cargo doors are open. So
right.
You would think, it's like, when you're driving your car and somebody opens up your back door and you ding ding ding, you would think there would be something like that on the space shuttle. But then again, we don't exactly have trained astronauts flying this space shuttle because
no, we sure don't.
Who is it that is in this command center up here?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So all the animation looks fantastic.
By Toei Animation.
Not just the opening credits, but everything up to this point, really the whole episode and probably the whole miniseries. It all looks really, really good. Top-notch G.I. Joe. Flint and Lady J are established as our lead characters because they're in Sky Strikers, and they are the ones communicating about how they're going to handle Cobra. Flint, actually, Noel, why don't you tell us Flint's creative use of the Sky Striker?
Well, as you can do with a Sky Striker and its wings, which are clearly made of like carbon steel. You can turn it ever so slightly and fly into a hiss tank and just split it right down the middle.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that
that's
is
what
definitely
Flint
something
does.
that I learned from watching G.I. Joe.
But don't fly close enough to the space shuttle to cut the net. Only
Oh
use
my
it.
gosh! Right?
Right.
Only use it to cut hiss tanks.
That's a very good point. And then, of course, you have Shipwreck also flying a Sky Striker, which, if you remember, the last time we saw Shipwreck pilot anything, it was a sailboat for sand.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, granted, Lady J was piloting it, but he was riding in a Sky Striker with her. He's a
It's
quick
true.
learner.
That
True.
I would say if I were to accompany somebody from the Air Force in a jet, I would probably be qualified to fly it shortly thereafter.
I'd say my favorite thing, other than all these characters, being able to fly Sky Strikers, like they'd been in the Air Force for many, many years, it's also their ability to withstand all those G-forces without wearing anything
No
other
gear.
than, a button-up shirt and having a parrot on your shoulder.
Well, I was getting ready to say, what about the tiny parrot's ability to withstand the G-forces?
Right.
Yeah. Pretty fantastic. Good stuff. Lots of fun. Cobra is led by Tomax and Samot, and Cobra Commander is watching from afar, of course, and we see that nice 2-seater hiss tank. Alpine and Bazooka take out Tomax, and okay, so I'll establish
Dumbest enemies ever.
I'll establish this right now. I have started doing voice notes rather than stopping to type notes because it saves a lot of time. My note here is Alpine and Bazoogo take out Tomax and Save Mart, who follow into a large body of water. Jump jetpacks are white. So I've got to do a little translating as I'm talking. So what we say, Alpine and Bazooka take out Tomax and Samot, and this is where we find out, or Alpine finds out that Tomax and Samot share pain, and he gets a little kick out of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the smartest thing to do when you're introducing yourself to a new enemy is immediately tell them what your weakness is.
Right. But unlike most of the other Joes we've seen, Alpine is like, I'm going to use that information.
It's true.
That's
send this
right.
to your brother as well.
That's right. So Tomax and Samot fall into a large body of water that we soon find out was a river. And then we've got, in the cartoon, this is just a note I made, that the jump jetpacks we're seeing are white. Destro refers to the Joes as marauders. He says, we've got to take care of these G.I. Joe marauders, which is weird. Not because Slaughter's marauders aren't around yet, but because that's just an odd way to refer to a defense force. And then Gung Ho, all these rocks in the desert start opening up and deploying Gung Ho and a slugger, a bunch of sharks that at first my thought was like they're just using sharks as just Air Force. They're just flying vehicles. But later on, we find out why, the clever reason that the sharks are being used.
I'm just impressed, though, that Cobra managed to conceal all of these hiss tanks under the ground in an area that where G.I. Joe clearly is under all this ground.
That is because Cobra has interns that go down to City Hall, and we know to look before we dig so we don't hit any power lines, gas lines. Joe's just digging under rocks.
Well, now here's what I think happened. I think the government contract for digging out this G.I. Joe underground space launch base or whatever, they got halfway through it and then found out that they were half a mile west of where they were supposed to be digging. They're like, oh, we got to move. So they made a bunch of holes and stuff in the ground, and then found out, no, we got to move over this way. And so Cobra was like, oh, look at all this unoccupied underground territory that we can hide our HISS tanks in. Dumber things have happened. So Cobra Commander is watching the tide turn and moves his HISS to the front of the line because, of course, he wants to be the first retreating, but then ends up in the body of water with Tomax and Zaymot with a comical, like, almost cannonball run-ish pileup of HISS tanks and stingers and whatever else. We get the... Noel, did you delight in seeing Scrap Iron for half a second in this episode?
Just flying out of a stinger.
And just as the Joes seem to have the twins and Cobra Commander, because they crawl out of the river, they're right on the riverside. The Joes have them dead to rights, and then the water robots. Here we go. It's our time. The water robots come up out of the water, and Shipwreck says, "Suffering sushi, what are those?" Which is preposterous and wonderful at the same time. The water robots, whose sizes will change consistently throughout the rest of this episode.
As does the river. Like, I have a note here.
Yeah, right.
As the BG saying, how deep is this river? It is insanity.
I'm going to put this one up, Christian. Hoffman says,
Nope,
if it was Atlanta, think of how many steel plates they would put down to cover those holes.
They'd also be covered with
local
chicken bones, but that's another Atlanta thing.
Yeah, that's very true. So the water robots come up, and Cobra Commander and the twins run into their loving arms, and they escape back down into the water. And Flint, interestingly, specifically refers to them as the Crimson Twins.
He got a little intel.
Yeah,
I did like at this point as they go into the water. Shipwreck says, first they want me to fly, and they want me to swim or whatever. He says, and he throws a little bit of foreshadowing because he says, as soon as they ask me to dance, I'm getting out of this outfit.
Yep, that's in my notes. I was like, buddy, just wait a few episodes.
Yeah, you have no
You're not
idea.
just gonna dance.
So this is, now that these water robots have gone underwater, we see this is why the sharks are in the episode, and Shipwreck and Polly commandeer a shark and go underwater after the water robots. Meanwhile, Flint and Lady J are in Sky Strikers chasing Destro, who is in a Rattler, through the streets of a city. And I really like the shot where he flies very close to a building and blows all the windows out of it.
Well, and from some of the architecture, it's definitely implied to be a certain northeastern U.S. city that might be the largest city in the country. So, yeah.
Which, as we all know, is right next to a desert.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that their rivers are not only infinity pools, but so clean that the pollution would not dissolve those water robots.
Well, and we come to find out that this river is truly massive because there is an entire underwater Cobra headquarters in this river. Well, a factory, we later find out, but this massive factory just in this river, which did not look to be all that large, but it's okay.
I think my favorite part about this is once they get there, and of course they release Cobra Commander. We've been calling them water robots, but that's what their names are.
That is the proper name. That is capital W, capital R, water robots.
Yeah, there are a couple of things throughout this whole miniseries where Cobra just wasn't very clever when it came to naming things.
Well, and it's not even about the fact that they're called water robots. It's about the fact that apparently they're commanded verbally. Like, there's not a pilot somewhere controlling them. It's Cobra Commander just says, water robots, return to the river and attend to G.I. Joe.
Mars Industries way ahead of its time in 1985.
Right.
Yep.
And this is the point where we find out that, as per usual, Cobra Commander has another plan that the Joes have played right into, which is where he explains the Rattler planting the cargo pods on the shuttle. And unfortunately for our Joes, the water robots have returned to the river to dispatch the Joes. And what I have here are a few pictures that demonstrate some size discrepancies from shot to shot of the water robots. So this shark
That's forced perspective.
Yeah, well, this shark does not appear to be that far away from the water robot. This is just a funny picture.
I have it here. The animation on Shipwreck's facial expressions while they are fighting the water robots is pure gold.
Find you somebody who looks at Polly like Shipwreck. or looks at you like Shipwreck looks at Polly. Sorry, I messed up.
Or, as Shipwreck says, get a grip on your tattoos. I don't want to know where they are.
Roadblock, Shipwreck, and Snake Eyes are all in sharks battling the water robots. And another note that I've got here, can you imagine how bad the cockpit of the shark that has Snake Eyes and Timber in it must smell? Like this ninja in a full body suit and a wolf. Like the stench must be unbearable.
So during this battle, Roadblock has quite a few lines of dialogue. And something that I noticed that I also have in my notes here for the battle scene, Roadblock, you're not rhyming. At some point during this battle, he must get a head injury. The water robots must do something, because from here on out, Roadblock goes full Nipsey Russell for the rest of the Joe Sunbow cartoon. But up to this point, he is just talking normal.
More on that next time on Audible Interlude. One of the water robots. Well, okay, so let's look at this shot and then this shot where the shark is, roughly hand size.
Hand size, yeah.
For a water robot. And then we get this wonderful shot of, so let's look at this and then let's look at this, because that's an entire tanker that the water robot is using as a baseball bat, as one does. And then over here,
okay. I wish you had the screenshot just before this, when it opens its mask and starts pulling the water in, because we get this classic line from Shipwreck that I now need on merch. Can't hold back. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's from Roadblock. Can't hold back. Suction's too strong.
Which I started singing a Crowded House song when he said that. Suction's so strong.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Ron Friedman.
We should move on before this gets worse. So during the course of this battle, some of the sharks do end up under the riverbed somehow. And we get little periscopes popping up through the mud, kind of like R2-D2 on Dagobah. And I actually really liked that. And I think we're in a world now where we're unlikely to ever get a redo of the shark in the way that, because I would love to see, the Star Wars The Vintage Collection has redone a lot of the classic vehicles with a lot of extra added detail. And I would have loved to see that for Joe at some point. But I would love to see a shark, a little larger size with that periscope with some extra features on it to make it, because in the cartoon, it was a pretty significant vehicle.
But with
how many variations of the shark could we get?
Well, we got a ton of repaints. I'm talking about new tooling.
Yeah, I'm saying we got so many of them in the vintage or in the modern line. But it would be a minor tweak.
But with the new pricing, the shark
I'm talking about
classifies as a HasLab.
If you yeah, that's about right. If you compare the Vintage Collection X-Wing to the original Kenner X-Wing, that's
night and day.
A significant difference. I'm talking about that kind of difference, not tack a periscope on the old shark. All right, let's see here. So our sharks get sucked into the water robot, and then the water robot launches them out of its arm, out of the river, back onto the shore. Lots of crazy stuff going on. Oh, here's the shot of the cargo pods being placed inside the space shuttle. One of them, a noticeable yellow color. Oh, and actually, I just saved this picture to use for future live streams. So Shipwreck and Snake Eyes and Polly and Timber make their way into the underwater Cobra base. Through some exhaust tunnels, while Roadblock so this is Roadblock and the other two sharks got sucked into the water robots and then ejected out of the river. And then we see Cobra Commander watching all of this, and he is changed into his battle helmet, and he's just having a high old time.
Because he's managed to pull off the most convoluted way to implant whatever he's implanted into this space shuttle.
I think
and somehow got away with it.
We might almost have to do like a recap of our reviews at the end, so we look at the bigger picture of the whole thing, like the efficacy of Cobra Commander's plan and whatever else. I don't know. We'll see. That might just be a segment, but we'll see what happens.
Yorktown Joe says, those cargo pods, maybe that's where the rest of the classified dial tones and crystal ball shipments ended up. Isn't it at this point, because I wish I had wrote it down in my notes, but apparently I didn't. Is it at this point where Cobra Commander alludes that Zartan is involved?
Yes. So we've got two things. Destro has escaped Flint and Lady J by flying into a secret hatch on a building, which was kind of cool.
Destro, by the way, is bonkers in this episode. He is just cackling and having the grandest time every time we see him.
He loves his job. And we find out that all of that is taking place over not New York City, but Enterprise City, which I come to love over the course of the first two episodes of this. And we find out as Cobra Commander is describing the plan, he says whatever's in that cargo pod is going to be activated by Zartan, who is already on the space shuttle.
Bum, bum, bum.
So moving on to the space shuttle, we find out there's not a good shot of everybody. We found out that the space shuttle is being piloted by Mutt with a crew of Dusty, Breaker, and generic G.I. Joe man.
And Steeler. Steeler happens to be aboard as well.
Yeah, he's there as well. But what a space shuttle crew. I mean, who else would you pick to pilot a freaking space shuttle in 1985, by the way?
I mean, I would start with Ace, but that's just me.
Yeah, sure. Oh, actually, that's funny. My note says, naturally, the space shuttle is being piloted by Dusty, Mutt, and Junkyard Breaker, and some generic guy who might be Ace. And then my second note is Steeler is there, too. So yeah, they're handling everything just fine, and then they detect that there's extra unauthorized cargo. And Scarlet, who Duke and Scarlet are in the command room on the space station Delta, and Duke doesn't say anything. Scarlet steps in and is like, "You find out what's in that cargo pod," and Mutt's like, "All right, Big Red," which is an interesting exchange. And then as they make their way, so Mutt here piloting a space shuttle to dock with a space station, as dog handlers often do. I didn't get a shot of Zartan, I guess. So Zartan, we find out that the generic man is Zartan because he puts his hand.
Spoiler.
he puts his hand on the window, and it turns colors when it's exposed to the sun. So that's our cue that, oh my gosh, it's Zartan. So he makes his way. Wait a minute, am I missing a bunch of pictures? No, okay. I just didn't take as many pictures as I thought. So the Joes go down to investigate the yellow cargo pod, just the yellow one. That's the only one they see. And I guess that's what it's highlighted
Right.
to draw their attention. They don't even notice the white cargo pod because it wasn't highlighted. They're like, let's get this yellow cargo pod out of here and investigate that thing. So they bring it into a completely separate area of the cargo bay, I guess. And then Zartan goes to the other cargo pod. And again, we have a bit of a scaling issue. Noel, would you like to describe what we're looking at here?
These are wee little ferrets.
Well, if you remember, the 25th anniversary Zartan came with a little tiny squished up chameleon that was actually intended for not Galactic Heroes, Combat Heroes. The Combat Heroes line. But the Zartan figure didn't get released, but they already had the tooling for the chameleon, so they just stuck it in there with the 25th anniversary Zartan. These look like Combat Heroes ferrets with O-ring dreadnoks.
Well,
which
I
I'm
thought,
not gonna lie, is okay.
When we get to, what is in the other cargo bin, I figure maybe there's some similar technology that we just are not aware of that causes the ferrets to expand, because they look pretty full size when we see them later on.
Well, look, we've all seen Cobra Claws are coming to town. We know Cobra has the technology. So Zartan lets the dreadnoks and the ferrets out of the other cargo container, while the Joes are investigating the highlighted cargo container. I like the shot of Clutch in his tan gear, and I can't remember off the top of my head, did we see more of him in this look?
I think from this point forward, you always, when you saw Clutch in the 85 regular ongoing, he was wearing the Mark II.
Well, that's my question: is did we see him more? Well, was he in Worlds Without End?
Yes.
Yeah. Was he in the tan?
I believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah,
because in the opening he's in the tan gear, so I would imagine that the animation model they have for him for the series.
Yeah. I don't think they would go back. I can't wait for us to do a Worlds Without End review.
It's kind of bananas that we've not done it yet.
Well, I honestly, here's the image right here, and
we gotta space him out. Do all the big ones.
I mean that's a big one. I mean, honestly, it would probably be the most requested review. I would guess, and maybe we'll do a poll in the Audible Army Facebook group. I'd be interested to know people's favorite episodes. Like maybe we do a post that asks what's your favorite or story from Sunbow, and then we take the top responses and do a poll. But I mean, I would imagine this would, I mean, it's certainly top 5 Worlds Without End. Okay, so anyway, Clutch version 2 is here investigating the cargo pod with everyone else, and Mutt and Scarlett's reaction to the Fatal Fluffies is hilarious. But what's even more hilarious is this Fatal Fluffy definitely has "how'd you get fired on your day off" face. And then Scarlett is just comes off as really bizarre.
Yeah.
Look at these little honeys. They couldn't hurt anybody. Hug. Like, that's crazy.
There's the line, I don't remember who says it, but they're like, "What's wrong, Junkyard?" Because Junkyard keeps barking at him. And I'm like,
it's Breaker.
I don't know. Maybe because Scarlet is acting like these little furry gremlin creatures are like they're puppies. Everybody's just like, "Oh, these look like nothing else that's on Earth."
Look, we've established that Junkyard is pretty useless, but if there's one thing that you can usually trust your dog on, it's whether or not that little creature is, trustable or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Scarlet comes off as really weird and stupid for just grabbing up one of these creatures and giving it a hug. But then Mutt, who is apparently the leader, finds this note. "These adorable creatures are called Fatal Fluffies. I'm sure you will enjoy their amazing split personalities. However, that is not what the voice actor says.
No.
The voice actor, rather than you will enjoy their amazing split personalities, says, I'm sure you will enjoy their deadly secret. So we've got a lot of weird stuff at work here because honestly, just the fact that they're called fatal fluffies is interesting. Like any reference to death in 80s cartoons is always a little surprising to me. Because usually they'll, rather than say fatal, they would say, or rather than say die, they would say you will be eliminated or you will be, like they'll find other ways to refer to death.
Mm-hmm.
So they're called fatal fluffies. They Clutch or Mutt says deadly secret, but I wonder if they removed split personalities, and here's a little foreshadowing for next week's episode, for the same reasons that they altered Zartan's file card.
Well, I think that what we don't know at this actual second, Zartan has already replaced Mutt, and he's angry.
He's
But
mad.
they took it out of
How
his
dare
file
you.
card, so he's not gonna.
Because the animation was clearly done long before the voices recording was done. So there's nothing they can do about the animation, but they can change the line, which is crazy, but it's what they did. And then the back of the card, well, it's sincerely yours, the Cobra Commander.
The Cobra Commander.
The Cobra Commander.
It's the formal name for him.
Which, while he's holding the card and reading it, the rest of the Joes don't notice that there's writing on the back.
Well, and also Scarlet's just cuddling, and why wouldn't you just immediately blow the fatal fluffies out of an airlock? Like the second you read the front of the card, regardless of who it's from, it doesn't matter who it's from, get them out of there.
Because then we'd have a very short miniseries.
Well, that's true.
We have 4 more episodes.
Yeah, that's a good point. But it does get Scarlet to put down the one that she's been cuddling. But then Zartan pretty much immediately reveals himself and blows the fatal fluffy activation whistle.
It's, we thought maybe there's 3 rules, that you have to follow with them. Don't get them wet. Don't feed them after midnight. But,
right.
No, we didn't get that.
And no rape whistles.
Well, and not only the clear Gremlins similarity here, but also the Tribbles from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, we're not back to these goofs yet.
Although Tribbles, I don't recall turning into giant hulking beasts at any point.
But I mean, they were cute little things that were a danger, and they were in outer space. I do wish the Super 7 Fatal Fluffies had come with a flame breath effect. I would rather have that than the whip. Because it would have been like, if you look at their Godzilla stuff, it would have been really nice translucent plastic. Would have and I know the Ultimates line is essentially sort of done for now, but man, an Ultimate Fatal Fluffy would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But Super 7 does like repaints and abilities to put figures out again, and the Fatal Fluffy sold out. So I can see them doing a version 2 that would have the not light up, but the solid color eyes, like the ones that are blowing flame and have a flame effect.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Flynn, we know you're listening.
I would go for that. And
Let's
look,
do it.
Brian, as soon as you're done doing the glow in the dark Fatal Fluffies, tool up this other version with the flame breath. So the Joes are apprehended by Zartan and the Dreadnoks and the Fatal Fluffies. Meanwhile, back in Cobra's river headquarters, Shipwreck and Snake Eyes have gotten through the airlock and are inside. And so this team, in a way, because obviously this is 1985 version 2 Snake Eyes, awesome looking figure. We want to put him in the cartoon. We want the kids to buy him. He looks really cool. He comes with a wolf. What's not to love? Well, it turns out what's not to love is he doesn't talk. But you partner him up with Shipwreck, who talks enough for any 2 people.
That's right.
So this is actually a brilliant team.
Well, and of course they do have to, break out of their sharks and swim to get to this headquarters, and Polly says, I'm a parrot, not a duck. But if it were Tim Meadows as Langston Fleury, he wouldn't have known either
wouldn't
way.
be able to tell the difference. He's bird blind. If you're not watching Peacemaker, I don't know what you're doing, because that show is incredible. And oh my gosh. Yeah. Tim Meadows
is a national treasure.
We should honestly, we should do a whole Needless Things podcast about how underappreciated Tim Meadows is, because he has been low-key the best part of everything that he has been in for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
And nobody ever talks about him.
Well,
but he gets great parts, though.
When people quote Walk Hard, which is a great movie, whose lines do they quote?
Yeah, that's true.
It's just his.
Right. So as they move through this facility, they find a whole crew of snakelings hanging out on a subway platform, waiting to go to work. And I guess they all just live and work and exist in this under river headquarters. And in classic action movie style, Snake Eyes and Shipwreck knock out a couple of snakelings and steal their uniforms. Good for them. Who doesn't enjoy that? Meanwhile, back at the pit, Flint and Lady J and other assorted Joes, and I referenced them that way because Flint and Lady J, again, are the main Joes of this portion of the story. Everybody else is there because they're like, all right, what figures have we got on the shelves now? Boop, 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 plug them in. But Flint is aware that something has gone wrong. And then they receive a message from Zartan, who starts firing on the pit from the space station. And I didn't did you guys remember that the pit just gets blasted to hell in this thing?
No, I don't. I didn't remember that was part of the series.
Or excuse me, it's not the pit, it's G.I. Joe headquarters.
G.I. Joe headquarters.
Right.
But they also I felt like they really, really rushed this scene. He tells them they're about to destroy the pit, and the next thing you know, the pit's just engulfed in flame. I'm saying the pit. G.I. Joe headquarters just engulfed in flame. It's 10 seconds.
Yeah.
No drama.
Which should have been dragged out.
But okay, so I agree it should have had more drama, but I will say the unintended side effect of it is it's shocking.
Yeah.
It really is. Oh my gosh, this just happened. And I appreciate, again, I think this is just a side effect of how this was produced and written, but that's how it would happen. So often when we're in pop culture media, they do sort of build fake drama. And you're like, well, why don't they just kill him? Why didn't they just shoot him? And in this instance, Zartan does just shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of refreshing that he's like, guess what? Y'all are boop. It's cool.
Almost to the point where you're like, why did he even bother telling him?
Well, because he savored springing it on him.
Right.
Noel, I do want to give you a trigger warning here for the next thing that we're about to talk about. I want you to be prepared. Something does happen to a beret. So please just understand as we move through the story, Flint does lose his beret for a time. And it's very upsetting. But as you can see in the background, Gung Ho has also lost his cover. Mm-hmm. These are troubling times for the Joes. Noel, are you okay?
I'll get through it.
Okay, good. Then I'll put this next picture up of a completely beretless Flint reacting to the carnage that's been inflicted upon the Joes. It's shocking. But he says, we're going to rally. We're going to recover. We're going to strike back at Cobra. We got this, Joes.
Right. What's
Yo,
that?
Joe.
What's that, Hasbro? What? Oh, Joe's. Don't worry. We have a new headquarters. The flag is getting ready to be on shelf.
And of course, at this point too, he says a line like, we've been bitten by Cobra so many times, but at the same time, this is the first time we've ever met Flint, Lady J, and really all of the characters in this scene.
Right.
And we get like no backstory, no intro. They're just like, it's like they were always there.
Right. Well, and it really is one of the things that kind of makes the introduction of like Shipwreck, or later on when Falcon and the Rawhides are introduced, and like
We get
there
quick
are
kick later on in this one.
Yeah, there are times when we get cool introductions, but sometimes you just they're already there.
Yep.
So back in the River Factory. Oh, wait, once again, I've kind of skipped ahead on my pictures. Cobra Commander, Destro, and the Crimson Twins are watching from what looks like an entirely different headquarters in a cave. And Cobra Commander actually finally says the name of the thing, Pyramid of Darkness. He explains that the Pyramid of Darkness is controlled by the space station, and 4 control cubes, once activated, nothing under them will have electricity. That's his big plan. These control cubes have to be placed at the 4 corners of the Earth, which is a wild concept because last I checked, the Earth is a globe. And then back in Enterprise City, or I guess we're under the river next to Enterprise City. Geography is confusing in this. Snake Eyes and Shipwreck have found the construction site for the control cubes and are attempting to gain access to the actual area where they're being built. Naturally, Cobra, they all have to check in with a security robot as they report for work. And the catchphrase is, "Hail Cobra Commander, the great snake rules forever." But what they're really checking for is voice ID, which go 1985.
Look, if we have voice commanded water robots,
sure,
voice ID is really no stretch at this point.
That's true. That's a very good point. And neither Shipwreck nor obviously Snake Eyes have the correct voice print to get through security. So they are failing the security check, and the robot, which is absolutely modeled after a Dalek. And Noel, I'm going to fast forward to our episode next week and say, you were correct. He's saying you will be exterminated.
Well, then he starts yelling, "Exterminate, exterminate," as the blades are coming out of the ground.
So we get a classic scene of spikes coming up out of the floor, saw blades blowing up out of the floor, and Shipwreck and Snake Eyes and Timber and Polly are clearly going to meet their demise at the conclusion of episode 1 of Pyramid of Darkness. It looks like the further adventures of G.I. Joe involve death.
Yes.
Oh, I totally put Scott's comment.
Okay. Yep. Reverend Scott says that robot's design is butt.
I disagree.
I love the robot.
Yeah, I really like that robot design. I like that he's too tall. Like, he's a humanoid shape, but he's too tall, so it's off-putting. He's got an insectoid head.
Yeah, I wanted the Super 7 set, but I just couldn't justify the price.
Yeah, I got it. I'm quite happy to have it. It's 2 jetpack Cobra Troopers, Shipwreck, Snake Eyes, and the security robot.
Because I would have just loved to, because he's a regular reaction figure, but I think he would look fine on my O-ring shelf.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're dealing with robots, like, because the same thing applies with the Star Wars retro figures, or even some of the 5 POA Star Wars figures that were coming out a few years ago. Like, robots mix with whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that robot design. All right. So that is the conclusion of this episode of Pyramid of Darkness. I mean, I don't even know that we need to do what did you think? It's fun. It's great. We had a little fun at the expense of the animation and some of the story, but it's awesome. It's a great ride.
Yeah.
The pacing is great. It's fun.
Mm. This is why we love GI Joe. It's we realized that it was a little silly when we were kids, but we still loved it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, no, I don't know that I realized it was silly when I was a kid. I'll be honest. I believe I took it as presented dead serious. I don't know that I really recognized the silliness when I was a kid.
I knew because I knew that parrots couldn't have conversations with humans. So Polly to me was a silly character that couldn't exist in the real world.
I don't know that I knew that when I was 9.
I knew
for
parrots
real?
could talk, so I think I probably most likely did assume that they could carry on conversation.
Yeah, I at 9 years old, I do not believe I knew the limits of a parrot's cognitive capacity. All right. Well, we do have one more segment because every time we're doing a live stream, we put up a post on the Audible Interlude podcast Instagram page with a sound off, where we want to hear from the Audible Army about what we're going to talk about. Now, obviously, tonight we were talking about Pyramid of Darkness. So tonight's sound off is Pyramid of Darkness specific. And the Audible Army, sure enough, delivered with some good stuff. So we're going to get to that right now. First up, Silent Interlude. Will you be talking about just the first episode or the whole 5 parts? I just rewatched them all, and there is a lot going on. And yes, as we have clarified, tonight is just the first episode. We will be reviewing the remainder of the episodes. Episode 2 will be next week's audio episode, and then alternating weeks after that, we will finish up the rest of the episodes. He says the dialogue versus the words on the card when they open the Fatal Fluffies, which we talked about. None of the Joes on the spaceship or space station notice the other extra cargo containers, which is a good thing to point out. We picked up on that too, but yes, absolutely, that's wild. The amount of iconic cartoon memories that came from this miniseries. In my mind, I don't remember so many of them being so closely packed together. It clearly made a big impression on Super 7. Unfortunately, I have back to school night tonight, so I will either be late or catching the replay. And for everybody listening, watching, whatever, the replay will be available forever on the Needless Things YouTube channel, and the audio version will be available tomorrow wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, as the Super 7 product was coming out, I didn't realize how much of it was based directly off of Pyramid of Darkness. Did you guys pick up on that? Because I
Not at the time.
I knew it was early cartoon, but I didn't realize how much of it was this.
Well, we got, I mean, even like the Reaction Plus figures that we've gotten, the Tomax and Zaymot we got were the ones based on their character designs in this episode. We get, there's a lot of stuff from the first or the second miniseries. But yeah, we do get a lot from this one, from Super 7.
Christian, throw Hoffman up there, his sound off comment.
Yeah. So
yeah, if Hoffman, if your sound off came in after 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, it was too late. Or Instagram like hid the comment or whatever, but throw it up here. We'll talk about it. Go ahead and put it in. Next up, Yorktown Joe. The small version of Fatal Fluffy seemed like a callback to the Star Trek episode, The Trouble with Tribbles. Of course, alien species are expected in sci-fi episodes. Any hypothesis on the pre-Fluffy backstory origin? Cobra Science Fair, mutant species from a remote island, extraterrestrial? Thanks. That's a great point. And so while I just said I wasn't super thoughtful when I was a kid, I do remember wondering at some point in my young life where the heck they came from. What do you guys think?
Well, since we've already established that these characters are just already there, Dr. Mindbender's hanging around somewhere. So I just presume that this is something that he created. We just haven't seen him on camera yet for another year.
Okay.
This was his breakthrough moment that finally got him the attention from Cobra Commander, and he gets moved up to full-time player.
I am actually going to go with, well, first of all, Hoffman, whatever your sound off is, go ahead and throw it in the chat. We'll talk about it. Christian, if you could throw Reverend Scott.
Reverend Scott. Yep. He said Destro made them.
And you know what? For 1985, for pre-Mindbender, I'm actually going to agree with Scott. I think off-screen, they're Destro's genetic creations. That's my headcanon for him.
Dabbles in bioengineering as well.
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
You know,
Mark
arms.
Harkness says Dr. Knox more likely. Mindbender doesn't do fluffy.
Good point. Good point.
Do you see what
Okay.
Mindbender wears?
All right, we'll save Hoffman's for after we get through the others. Nowhere Man Child, the Cobra Temple design shown in your graphic is one of the best in my opinion. Where does it stand in your hierarchy of Cobra base designs? This is a great question, and to be honest, I would need to do more real research to make a real determination. But for me, it's probably okay. I love the original Cobra Temple, the one where it has the snakes leading up to the pathway, and Destro has to do the scan to get in. Like, I really, really love that design. However, if we're talking about something where we would produce a play set, this is the winner, because I see that Cobra Temple design as the front, very similar to the original G.I. Joe headquarters. And then that's just the facade. I mean, it's sculpted and everything. And then just like the G.I. Joe headquarters, behind that, it's got, a hangar and a jail cell and a command center. Like, I can very easily picture in my mind what this would have looked like as a play set. And I'd love to see it. So that tempts me to say, yes, I agree. It's the best. What about you guys?
I'm going to always probably lean on the Silent Castle from Marvel as being my favorite of the ones that were not produced in any way. So we're not counting like the Terradrome.
Sure.
But yeah, this is a really good one. And again, I could even like see Super 7 doing something. You could do like a cheap version of this with, maybe like a kind of a cheap plastic facade. And yeah, you maybe even do some retro stuff and use some cardboard like the old play sets used to be.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If Super 7 were to do it, it would be one of two things. It would either be a plastic or resin, I guess, base with a cardboard back, or it would be a $700 like mothership size.
Which I don't think Super 7's going to try anytime soon.
No. Well, no. Okay, so that would be the instinct. However, in that last conversation I had with Brian Flynn, or maybe it was at Joe Fest, one of the last two things I published here with Brian Flynn, he was not totally closed off to the idea of trying the mothership again.
That was on your interview.
So, yeah, I don't know. All right. Also, Nowhere Man Child. Side note, he bought the Super 7 reaction set, which includes Shipwreck, Snake Eyes, the security robot, and Jetpack Troopers. And the box is this temple, so it is a perfect design playset. Well, there you go. Tom Henry. There's a lot of logical holes in the first episode, but explain how Snake Eyes with his mask on and a dude with a parrot don't raise suspicion until a voice authentication is needed. Thanks for the consideration. Hashtag Fang 2025. Hashtag Joe has the worst security. And this is what we're referencing. And look.
Wait for episode 2.
Yeah. But you know what? All these Cobras on the train, they don't care. They could care less if there's just random people with animals on the train.
Well, think about how much you care who's there at your job during the day. Like, does that affect your paycheck? Whatever.
You know what they're not showing us because of the music rights is that Cobra pumps Sheena Easton Morning Train on an infinite loop so that we don't care. We want to get to the tunnel and just start work. That's it.
Also, Tom.Henry, also the Joe grunts can run as fast as the Joe vehicles. I'm just choosing to overlook that. Look, here's my explanation for that. And what he's referencing is at the beginning of the episode when Joe is responding to the assault on the space shuttle. I think it's just that they slowed the vehicles down to provide support for the running green shirts. That is my explanation there.
My favorite is the HISS tank that Cobra Commander is riding on in this episode that is going backwards as fast as all of the other vehicles are going forward, and then immediately is able to just like pivot and turn around and get to the front of the line.
Look, HISS stands for High Speed Sentry.
Yeah.
It's got to be able to maneuver.
I'm guessing that the driver has a really good backup camera because there's no rear view mirrors and you can't see out behind you.
They're just the best. It's like Nicolas Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds.
He's using the reflection in Cobra Commander's battle helmet.
Oh my gosh. Can we get Nicolas Cage as Serpentor, please?
that is casting.
Scott Stripling Art, 40 years. Get a grip on your tattoos. Water robots are dope. I'd love to have a toy of one. I know it's impossible if done right. I don't agree with that, actually, because it's not in this room anymore. Mattel did an incredible action figure of, is it Chemo or Chemo? Chemo. And that is exactly how you would do a water robot. But what figure toy from this episode would be one you'd like someone to make? There's a ton of content in this episode alone. The amount of non-toy elements in this episode really does dispel the claim the cartoon was just a long commercial. I don't know that it dispels it, but I don't know. From this episode, the water robot would be my number one pick. I can't, because I've got a Sentry robot over there. That's really the only other significant design,
I feel like that is the only answer.
Yeah, because I mean everything else pretty much has been done either, if not by Hasbro, by Super 7 that's in this episode.
But as we go through the rest of these episodes, we'll consider that.
Yeah.
And that is it for our sound off. So let's throw up
Brian's. Who would your 5-man Special Missions Pyramid of Darkness Brazil team be? Bonus points if they replace a specialty from the first team.
I mean, it seems to me it would be, Breaker replaces Dial Tone, right? Mutt somehow replaces Claymore.
I'd say Footloose because he already has the helmet.
But Mutt's the leader.
Okay.
Was my thinking. Who else? Shipwreck and Snake Eyes have to be in there because they're primary in this part of it.
Mainframe is hanging around somewhere in this miniseries.
I'm just thinking of which Joes had the most action in this. So it really, definitely Shipwreck, Snake Eyes, Mutt,
Bazooka, and Alpine.
Or no, Dusty.
But Dusty gets the wrong kind of action.
I don't know that I consider, like, Roadblock, sort of.
Roadblock, obviously he gets more screen time later, but at least in this episode, he seems like, at the end of the credits and special guest star.
I think what we have to do is revisit this after we've reviewed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And determine what the top 5 Joes are from the whole series. So yeah, I think we'll come back to this.
I'll save this.
Yeah, Christian, make a note, save that, and we'll come back to it at the end. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll do kind of a recap of the whole thing in a way. Of final thoughts or something, if you will. But with that, that's all the show we got for you tonight. We've had a lot of fun reviewing this live. The chat has had some wonderful stuff. Like it really has been a different experience, and I do miss having those slide presentations that we used to have when we were doing the Patreon stuff. But
And I gotta
maybe that'll
say,
come back.
chat, even though we weren't able to pull you all up as frequently as we do on our more news-based live streams, you all were cracking me up with a lot of the comments. So I enjoyed this thoroughly.
So our music is by Andy Samford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. Catch us live at Joe Lanta. Noel and I will be there all weekend. And then our panel is on Saturday. That is next weekend, believe it or not, at the Gas South Convention Center in Duluth, Georgia. We're going to be hosting a panel, doing a live table read of Special Mission Brazil Redux with special guest Michael Charles Hill hanging out with us, giving away one of his scripts signed. So join us for that. And then our next live stream on the Needless Things YouTube channel is September the 29th, our 200th episode. We're going to be doing some special stuff there. Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Finest?
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club raising money for an organization called Canines for Warriors. We will be at Joe Lanta, coming up in just a little over a week now. So yeah, stop by the table if you do come out to Joe Lanta, talk some Joe with us, and help us raise some money, pick up some cool swag.
And Christian, where can we find that? Can I get back up to it fast enough? Yes, I can. That toy photography you do so well.
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
All right, well, catch us live at Joe Lanta or for the 200th episode extravaganza. Until then, yo, Joe. Hail, Cobra Commander. The Great Snake rules forever.
Exterminated.